Welcome back. The devastating impact of erosion is now a cause of concern to many Nigerians whose homes, businesses and sources of livelihood have been greatly affected. Some Nigerians are asking questions about ecological funds, and they want to know if indeed the funds can help reduce the effect of erosion in troubled communities. On our big story tonight, our reporter Victoria Idowu takes a look at the level of damage done to properties in some select states in Nigeria.
Taste is the difference. Nothing tastes like my Indomie.
Living next to the ocean can be a wonderful experience, but it also comes with its challenges. Erosion is one of them.
This spot that I'm standing right now used to be Etu School in Owode, Alpha Beach. Now, Alpha Beach also used to be a recreation center. People used to come here to have fun and enjoy themselves. But this is what it looks like right now. It's a no-go area to anyone. The schools are gone, the hospitals are gone. Erosion is taking its toll on the environment. There is a dire need to do something about this, and fast.
This building used to be called Ocean Breeze, a tourist facility. This is what is left of it. Half of the walls swept away by the ocean. This resident of Owode, retired sailor, moved to Alpha Beach almost 20 years ago because of his love for the sea. He believes there is only one way out of this situation.
If there is drastic more attention to make sure this same breaker, the stones, get to the other side of the breaker, there should be stone between every breaker to reinforce the water coming.
Erosion happens over time, but certain factors can help speed up the process and make the situation worse.
Man's intervention has created this erosion that is taking place. We are directly responsible for it because we have put obstructions against the west-east flow of the ocean. As soon as you put an obstruction, even if it's just a shipwreck, let alone a huge boulder wall, it's going to cause erosion on the eastward side. This is what's going on, and it's going on massively.
But one thing can also reverse the process.
With the resources available, which specifically are the ecological fund, trillions and trillions of naira over the years, ecological fund. Why has this not been deployed to protect the Lagos coastline?
A few kilometers up the road is another settlement called Babwaya in Lekki. One is greeted with a situation that is almost worse.
The sea used to be far, far away, like 400-500 meters away. And gradually, like a dream, it was just coming, erosion started taking place. And it started marking land and cutting it off and into the sea and, taking over the land.
Coconut trees that once provided a stunning view are now hanging on the edge. This whole village faces the same fate. The fear of losing their homes has brought the whole community together to try to build sea defenses with sandbags. But how effective is this? Perhaps only a few weeks will tell. Leaving the southwest to the southeast, a similar tale is being told by the people. A fresh disaster hits Obosi community in Anambra State. One heavy rain destroys the major road, breaking it into half. This building under construction is not spared. A cry for help is all the residents can do. There are other parts of southern and northern Nigeria that are facing the threat of erosion. Imo State, Cross River State, Edo State, Delta State, Akwa Ibom, Adamawa, Kaduna and Kano, amongst others. Up north, in Niger State specifically, perhaps not many have any idea of the possible danger the residents of Anyagwari in Boso local government area of the state face in days to come.
The ecological fund is supposed to be released at the federal level.
But then, there is an ecological fund created by statute which every state is entitled to. So what is happening to this fund? The National Economic Council at its recent meeting spelled out how the ecological fund will be managed going forward.
Ecological fund submitted its final report and recommends a robust governance structure, stringent disbursement criteria as the way forward.
The fear of being displaced from one's home and having nowhere else to go is what many people are battling with in several parts of the country at the moment. Although erosion is a natural phenomenon, the impact it has on the community can be reduced if the authorities do what needs to be done, and urgently so. For the big story, Victoria Idowu, reporting for Channels Television News.
Is the difference. Nothing tastes like my Indomie.
And that's tonight's big story, from where we're moving on to today's business news. And here's Anne Nwamodu.
You first. First Bank.
Welcome to Business News. The central bank and other financial market operators in Nigeria have argued that the interventions of the CBN do not encourage laxity and will not expose the economy to volatility. The position was made known today at a meeting of Risk Managers Association of Nigeria in Lagos in reaction to the IMF warning on potential risks to the country's economic growth this year.
Central Bank of Nigeria, where they're making funds available, is in the intervention. Critical areas and critical sectors of the economy where central bank has to intervene. And that is why they are intervening where, and it is the arm of the government that can fund it. You don't need, it's not the Minister of Finance that should do it, but that is what CBN should do. And they're doing it properly and they're doing it very well. Look at all the arms where central bank has intervened. You could see that we're beginning to experience some level of growth and progress as a country.
The IMF tend to be very cautious, but I think we have tried to, at CBN, we are working very well, and with the risk managers as well, to ensure that those that we continue to mitigate the risk arising. One of their concerns, obviously, is that we are dependent on oil to a large extent, and it's a concentration risk. Wherever you have a concentration risk, we need to address, and that's been addressed both at government levels. That's why you have a very strong economic recovery and growth plan. At CBN, we look at that as well. And I think as Risk Management Association of Nigeria, we look at scenarios, and it's the nature of what risk managers do. So we are doing our best, and so far so good, I must say.
Gains across major counters of the stock exchange drove the main index higher today ahead of more earnings report from listed equities. Let's join BC Adebayo.
The rally continues for the third consecutive session in the new month today at the NSE in response to more bargain hunting by local and foreign investors on the market. The all-share index crossed back above the 37,000 level after a 0.62% increase, while the market cap rose by more than 79 billion naira to 12.799 trillion naira. The positive sentiment was attributed to the performance of four major counters, with Cyprus' second 0.19% decline from the oil and gas sector. 20 gainers of the day were led in percentage value by Dangote Sugar, C&I Leasing and Airline Services, while 17 losers were led by Ketix, Nigeria Police Microfinance Bank and May & Baker. Livestock, Access and GT Bank were the most actively traded stocks for the day after investors traded a total of 412.12 million shares in 4,207 deals. And that's it on the stock market reports. I am BC Adebayo.
Thanks a lot, BC. Well, European bourses closed mostly higher today as investors reacted to a rate decision by the Bank of England. But it's a different picture for other world stock markets. Let's take a look. Thanks a lot for watching Business News Tonight. I'm Anne Nwawado. The rest of the news at 10 continues now with Ladi.
You first. First Bank.
Thanks a lot, Anne. The federal and state governments have been soliciting for investment to boost the nation's economy and create more jobs. Sponsor of the Lagos Free Trade Zone, Tolaram Group, took a step in this regard when it received the Singaporean Minister of State, Trade and Industry, who came on a fact-finding visit to the group. Tolaram is developing the Lekki Port, part of the trade zone, in partnership with the Nigerian Ports Authority and the Lagos State government.
The Singaporean Minister for State Trade and Industry and his delegation arrive at Tolaram Corporate Headquarters within the Lagos Free Trade Zone. He is shopping for investment opportunities for his country within the zone. They move straight to the model to consider the plan for the area.
I think this is something interesting for Singapore companies to see, and I think it should hopefully lead to more awareness and excitement for Singapore companies to explore business opportunities here in Nigeria, whether it be in consumer goods or in the build industry. I think this is something that companies, after a trip like this, have to go back to their sums, make their calculations, and make their decisions.
The managing director of the group gives an idea of the size of the project.
We have two projects going on here, in fact, multiple projects going on here. First is we're building a port, which is approximately a $1.2 billion first phased project. Then we have an 800-hectare free zone. For this, I don't have a number yet because it's going to be an ongoing project. As more and more new industries come in, that's where the value comes in. But at the same time, as a group, we have invested in 4 factories here, and we have invested close to $150 million so far in the 4 factories, in the palm oil refinery, in the packaging, in the milk, and the 4th product is we're going to produce cereals with our joint venture with Kellogg's.
He's also convinced that the growing Nigerian population will soon need the services of the Lekki port due to the limited capacity of the existing ones.
Apapa and Tin Can Port at the moment does about 1 million TEUs, I think, and they do not have any more capacity to expand because they don't have any land bank. Whereas we have planned now for 2.5 million TEUs in the first phase. Eventually, it will grow to about 4.5 million TEUs in the second phase.
Tolaram Group, the parent company of several food and cleaning products, expects the Lekki Port project to be completed in 2020 and generate more than 160,000 jobs.
Whatever the plan is now, which you build for the future.
Local carriers in the country have demonstrated efficient capacity to airlift Nigerian pilgrims to the annual Hajj. This is coming from the managing director of Medview Airline, Munir Bankole. He said this at the flag-off ceremony of the airlift of pilgrims for the 2017 Hajj from Kaduna State. The airline is expected to transport about 3,000 pilgrims from the state.
Intending programs from Kaduna State are seated here alongside state officials and top management staff of Medview Airlines. It's the official flag-off ceremony for the airlift of the 2017 Hajj in Kaduna State. The Speaker of the State's House of Assembly addresses the pilgrims.
The conduct of the state pilgrims last year was highly commendable. Therefore, let me use this occasion to call on our intending pilgrims to respect the rules and regulations of Saudi Arabia.
For Medview, this is the 11th year in this business, a testimony to the capacity of local carriers.
Max here has 3 airplanes, which carries almost about 500 passengers. Medview has 3 aeroplanes that carry almost about 1,000 per day. So if you put all these together, we lift about 2,000 to 3,000 per day and multiply by the number of days is less for the Nigerian indigenous carrier to carry.
Formalities over, the first batch of 460 people are cleared to board the massive aircraft.
We're even very grateful and we're very happy that we are going on Medview.
The state governor also sends a word of caution.
I also advise them to be good ambassadors of Nigeria, to pray for our president, to pray for peace and progress in our country. I have advised them to be law-abiding, not to engage in any acts that will bring shame and disgrace to Kaduna State and Nigeria.
Over the period of 5 days, Medview Airlines is expected to airlift 3,000 here in Kaduna before it moves to Ilorin, the Kwara State capital, for another round of the exercise.
Still ahead on the news at 10, former heavyweight world champion Vladimir Klitschko retires from boxing, ruling out a rematch with Britain's Anthony Joshua. That's in sports news. Please stay on with us.